Okay, Nick, I hope this comes out clear enough that it actually makes sense. So here's this ignition switch mounted to a 400F triple clamp, and you can see the switch, maybe you can, maybe you can't, doesn't actually mount parallel or perpendicular to the flat face. It's actually mounted at an angle, and the mounting bracket has that same angle, the stock mounting bracket. So when you put the two together, everything sits like the switch and the plastic in the center all sits and lines up nice and square. So it lines up at the same angle, and it lines up this way, and there's the plastic actually goes right around the bottom. I've removed the plastic on this one because I was fitting it to the VF triple clamp. So that's the way it should fit. Okay, so here's the switch mounted in the VF clamp, and you can see the VF clamp has an aluminum ring that goes around the front, and the switch actually mounts at about twice the angle of the 400. This thing's mounted at like 10 or 12 degrees, and the 400 is 5 or 7 or something like that. So the problem comes when you try and mount the gauge cluster, and it's mounted perpendicular to the fork tubes. You end up with two different angles. You end up with the switch going at 10 degrees, and you end up with everything else going at 5 degrees. And so when you try and put them together, you end up with a big sort of gap there, and you have to file off or cut off the bottom of the plastic of your gauge dash to get them to go together. So I've really got two options here. You can continue to mount the switch to the triple clamp and just mount it like this, and you're probably better off to cut off the ring of the triple clamp, because that allows the gauge cluster to come in a little closer. That probably is satisfactory in my mind. I don't know what you think about that. The other option is I can take this switch off of here completely. I can make another bracket that spans between the two mounting brackets that go onto the fork tubes, and we can mount the ignition switch to that bracket, and that will put everything back in line. That's just a lot more work.